The Drop Date podcast, episode 4. With us today, we have Jess Lawrence.
Hello.
Social media god, content creator, activist, lecturer.
Reeling off the LinkedIn, right?
And most importantly, sneakerhead.
Definitely.
Welcome to The Drop Date.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Your phone's off.
That's all right. I don't
Mine's off.
Yeah, we've got the notes on the phone, but where we start is just we always start from the start, and we want to sort of find out where your journey began, you know, your early influences. What was the big bang moment when it came to sneakers?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how does the collection start building? So if we can just sort of go through the early life and young Jess and forming those
Little me.
tastes and trends and the things that were catching your eye.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So, it's a long old story, but I come from such like a basketball sporty family. So, we can go into it, all the sort of nuances of that. But from such an early age, sort of footwear has been a huge part of my life, but without me even realising the extent of it, if that makes sense. So I was always in sneakers or trainers, probably called them back then when I was younger. And it really wasn't until I started playing basketball, which I was probably about 7 or 8, that I started actually seeing sneakers, you know, in terms of the fashion trends of them, people collecting them, people who had an interest. But how I used my sneakers back then was very different. I'd buy a pair, wear them to the ground, and then give them away. So my mum was a PE teacher, so she used to take a lot of my old like Jordans and things to some of her students who couldn't necessarily afford Jordans or whatever.
It's incredible, right? Trainers were made for a purpose.
Right?
Yeah. Not just
Weird
for
to
fashion.
think, huh? Yeah.
Strange concept, but go with us. It's a thing, yeah.
But now I'm like, I wish I could have held on to some of these things. I would have such an amazing archive now. But I think, in my opinion, sneakers are for wearing. So I'm glad they went off and had another life that when I didn't want them anymore. So, and then when I got to about, I think it was like 2013 maybe, that's when I really started seeing, people are actually collecting sneakers as well.
Okay.
So even though I had like my own collection and I was kind of burning through sneakers, that's when I started being a bit more intentional with kind of keeping hold of some and things like that, actually wanting to grow my collection a bit better.
So for context, you mentioned your mother was a PE teacher.
Yeah.
Your father was a ex-NBA.
He was drafted into LA Clippers, yeah.
Drafted to the Clippers.
Yeah, and they met actually in Crystal Palace on a basketball court. And then
So this was at the end, so at the tail end of your dad's career, he's come to London to play basketball, and that's what it meant.
So he started off he's from South Carolina, but he went to university in North Carolina, playing basketball, and then off the back of that went global around the world. I think he was in like Argentina, Finland, playing professional basketball.
Sweet.
And then came to England. Now, we all know that England is not the best for basketball, unfortunately.
But it does there is it is underground or not.
It's just there's no funding.
There's no funding, but there's very much a loyal scene there.
It's just small.
I've been to a few games down the years. I've met some individuals around the basketball scene, and it's they're very much like they're a big family, and they're all. So it is a good culture there, but doesn't get the exposure that maybe
no
it deserves.
Exposure, no money, no funding into grassroots, nothing like that. Yeah. And I actually know it's because of where governments put their money. It tends to do what can do well in the Olympics, and so they know that England's not going to do very well in basketball, so they don't even fund it, which is just awful because we should have more reasons to fund things than what does well in a competition.
I agree.
It's like every 4 years you see a team GB basketball team. You're like, we have a basketball team.
So speaking of, my brother was actually
sports, right?
Yeah, my brother was actually captain of that team in 2012, the
amazing.
GB basketball team.
Boom.
So I was a basketball player as well. Up until probably about age, I think like 7 to about 21, I played.
Okay.
For like South England university team, club, things like that. But it wasn't really I love it, but it wasn't and I love playing it, but it wasn't really my passion like it was my mum, my dad's and my brother's.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt like I inherited it. But what I am so grateful for basketball is that it got me into my passion, which is sneakers. Because without basketball, I don't think I would have got to this point of having this mad love.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it must have been like sneakers on court, sneakers off court, just everywhere. Your brother, your parents.
It's just like
sneakers everywhere.
Yeah, and I feel like even growing up in the like utility room or whatever in my parents' house, there was just so many sneakers. Like you can't tell who's a who.
Yeah,
you know, it's that kind of vibe. But yeah, when I was growing up, it was very different in sense like probably should, I can say this now that I'm out of my Nike contract, but I grew up wearing a lot of Superstars, kind of more girly ones, like remember some holographic ones I had that I absolutely loved. Jordans back then were only for on court for me. I didn't wear Jordans in fashion until I was probably a teenager, maybe a bit older.
Can you remember the Jordans that you would play in?
Oh, do you know what? Me and my dad have spoken about this, because he used to go to America a lot and bring them back for me and my brother back in the day, and I think it was 3s and 11s.
Okay.
But unfortunately, there's not many pictures of that era. There's not many, and like I said, they've all gone.
Yeah.
But that's what I think. Definitely can remember 11s, but I wish I knew specifically. Yeah.
I'm not the biggest Jordan fan, but I got a soft spot for the 11. Mm-hmm. I think 11 looks good in a lifestyle context as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Drop with the right pants, it's a good shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it too. How streamlined it is. It's really cool.
Yeah, the 11 is definitely has the most, what would you say? Like you can wear it in any environment situation, from
Space Jams, Concords,
from court to the main aisle at the church on a wedding day. You could do that. I think there's plenty of content out there of dudes in their wedding day in 11s.
Little magistrate's court visit.
Yeah.
Still got to look fly, right?
Absolutely. So can you remember the first? You mentioned Superstars.
Mm-hmm.
You remember the first Jordan model or basketball shoe you remember that you could identify and say, yeah, that's the X?
Yeah, it would be the Jordan 1 Chicago's, which my brother actually had.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, when the original drops, but obviously my mum didn't hold on to them. They'd probably gone to a charity shop and some lucky person's got them, but that's just naturally how it went.
Yeah.
We didn't realise everything was going to go like this in the sneaker world, so yeah. But can you imagine if we still had those today? And also, in terms of Jordan, it was the AJ1 for a long time for me in the 11s. But in terms of Nike, I remember always having a big interest in the up-tempo. Still do to this day. And I'm a real 97 fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not very popular to say these days, but
You don't
I love them. I don't know. I don't really see them.
No, I still see people in the 97.
Okay, that makes me feel better, because I feel like,
It's a classic.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I mean it rings true, because if you browse through your Instagram, the 97 appears quite regularly. You have a serious rotation of sneakers, but there is the odd one or two that you can obviously tell that you favour.
I can remember
97s is definitely one of those.
Yeah, for sure. It was the gold bullets. I wouldn't necessarily wear gold now, but back in the day, I just remember seeing them and just thinking, like, I have never seen anything this beautiful, and just like how streamlined they are. I've got such a narrow foot, so I feel like they fit me perfectly. Yeah, I just am a big fan.
So that'd be your favourite Air Max?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think longevity throughout my whole life, yes, I'd say. And then, like, most recently, I've got the CDG, the Skeptors, things like that. Yeah, I think they've captured my heart the most over time.
I've definitely got fond memories of the 97.
Yeah.
It's one of the few Air Maxes, apart from the 1 and the 95, that I've actually got a pair and like wore the shit out.
Yeah.
Like wore them until there was nothing left of the store.
Yeah.
When they got reissued in 2017, it would have been camped out for them.
Did you?
Yeah. I was working at End at the time, and I started to camp out for them because they were that hot.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't just get a pair, so I camped out overnight for them, got a pair, and I wore the shit out.
Yeah. Mood.
Yeah,
Very relatable.
They're a good shoe.
And your favourite 97 would be?
If you'd asked me when I was a child, I would have said gold bullets,
Gold
but now
bullets,
silver, definitely.
Oh,
yeah.
just switch
Silver,
flip-flop it
but
to
I think
silver,
because I love silver jewellery,
Yeah.
so it's kind of a aesthetic thing more.
I feel that silver's dropped with everything, whereas the gold, a little bit more thought needs to be put in the white outfit.
Yeah, I agree.
What would yours be? 97. I know what mine is.
It is hard to go against the silver bullet.
Baroque, true Baroque brown.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful.
I would kill for a wearable pair of those. I'm not even that hung up on footwear like yourself or Elsie.
Yeah.
Like, I love footwear, don't get us wrong. I'm into it, I can have a conversation about it, but as for having shoes and obsession over them, I'm kind of past it now.
Yeah.
But that's a shoe I'd love them back.
Maybe they'll come into your life sometime.
Yeah, well, I'm probably watching a pair on eBay that's got a crumpled sole.
Yeah.
But I don't want to deal with that.
No.
No one wants to deal with that.
No.
It's the full length air unit on the 97 is my favourite Air Max air unit, sole unit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm huge love of the Air Max Deluxe, which is same era and like just a different upper, but
underrated.
Yeah, massively underrated. Never really got the, there was never a huge amount of options. There was maybe a handful of colourways at any one time. Even when they came back, they didn't really go too hard with it.
I don't think there was a big taste for it though.
No. See, when they originally dropped here in the UK, it was a JD shoe. I don't believe you could really find it anywhere else. So it was hard to come by even then in those days before people were collecting, like mad and hoarding the stuff. But that sole unit is my favourite. Is sole unit on an Air Max. But as a silhouette, an Air Max 1 is my go-to. Yeah.
That's definitely what my brother is really into sneakers as well, and he's a bit more of a AM1 guy.
Yeah.
But I just think I like things a bit more jazzy, and I've always found like a 97 has kind of ticked that for me. But I've got my fair share of AM1s as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so speaking of your brother, do you think he's influenced your taste, or certainly fueled your passion for sneakers growing up and into young adulthood?
Yeah, well, actually, no. It's kind of the reverse way around. So when I was growing up, when he did collect and have loads of sneakers, because he had like performance wear and still does because of basketball, and he's a sneakerhead, so he has the lifestyle, the fashion, and the performance wear. I just thought it was silly. I was like, why are you collecting all of these? Like, this is when I'm a young child, thinking, why have you got all of these? You don't need this many. And then when I fell in love with it, I was like, oh, it all makes sense to me now. So now definitely one of my inspirations, and it's really cool to have someone in my family that I can talk about sort of the ins and outs of the culture as well with, and we can share that passion together. But he definitely was there way before me, definitely.
Yeah, so something I wanted to ask you about was I'm from a different era. I'm got a good few years on you, and what I wanted to know is where those early days, where were your information resources? Where would you go to find out what's coming out? Where is it dropping? How can I get these? Like, what were you using at the time to get that information?
It was really word of mouth, and it was sort of basketball courts within friends, things like that. I know some people sort of used magazines or things like that, but for me, I just remember being in stores. So Foot Locker, I met a lot of information from my brother as well, and just picked my peers in basketball. Also, sort of, my dad's African American, as we touched on, so there was a lot of influence from hip hop and things like that. MTV, me and my brother would be watching, taking notes, things like that. Yeah. But I think the main way was when we used to go to America in the summer, and that's when
4 for 4. 4 for 4.
I know.
4 for 4.
Does no one go to Great Yarmouth or Scunthorpe? America?
So it's inside. No, not inside joke, but yeah. So
I was like, what?
Four guests, and it's same for myself included. There's always a trip to America.
Yeah.
There's trips to America.
It has to be.
It is, everyone has referenced some sort of trip to America.
Yeah.
Being the, the eye opener, or the that broke the glass ceiling, so to speak. Yeah.
I can remember as well, like going to a Foot Locker when I would have been a child and picking up Jordans for play basketball. And I remember just seeing a poster of Serena Williams. And obviously I knew who Serena Williams was, but it made me think this is actually the first time I've seen a black woman in advertising. And it was a really poignant moment for me. And I think that's why my love of Nike as well has run so deep, because even as a child, I remember being inspired by that and thinking, oh, that's really, really cool. I wish we could have had that same back here. Yeah. And obviously things have changed and caught up to some degree, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's carried, as a female and a black female like that, she's certainly carried, Nike for a long time. Her career was incredible.
Yeah.
And it spanned a long time.
And some of her shoes are super cool as well. Yeah.
And she always, she always experimented with dress code and the outfits she wore on court.
Definitely. Yeah. She completely paved the way.
She got that 101 pair from Virgil, didn't she?
That's right. Yeah.
Mm.
Remember those? There was
Is it like really multicolored? Yeah.
And there was a blazer as well.
Yeah, there was blazers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember there was a Nike event a long time ago, and she attended, and some athletes, sports stars, famous people, they just have a different aura, different energy, gravitas about them.
Yeah.
And she certainly had that. She commanded the whole place. It was it was incredible.
Yeah, I would have loved to have been in the same room as her. Maybe one day.
Yeah, I was
Might
like,
still happen.
Right there. She was playing table tennis with someone. Yeah, it was cool. I can't remember what the event was for. It would have been a sort of pre-Wimbledon thing for some sort of product launch. But yeah, it was cool. Yeah, no picture with Serena, but
got the memories.
Got the memories.
Got the memories.
Just about.
Yeah.
Just about. So early professional life. I think did you go to university?
Yeah.
And what did you study at university?
So I did English literature at University of Southampton, which was a great decision. I remember my parents are both teachers now, and I didn't know what to do. I knew I wanted to study, and I was such a bookworm, still am. And my parents just said, like, do what you want to do, which is probably not very good advice in terms of the job market, but luckily it did work out okay for me. But yeah.
You know what? I think that's almost the best advice.
Okay, good.
Because I feel like a lot of, like, some people's parents are like, go and do this.
Yeah.
And then it almost builds up the almost anxiety that if I don't do that or become that, then I'm like a failure in my parents' eyes. But if your parents have just been like, just go and do what you want, what makes you happy. Like, I'd like to do the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. They always trusted me.
Given that freedom to just
yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah, and that's what it did. And I was studying something that I loved. And, you know, then I had those 3 years to actually work out, okay, how does this degree actually lead elsewhere? And the thing is about humanities, even though they don't lead to anything directly, I think if you're smart about it, you can use those transferable skills to go anywhere. So I knew it was going to be something within writing, within content, within, you know, things like that, analysis, research, those kind of things. But yeah, God, that was many moons ago now. And then it was actually at university where like my love of fashion really sort of set in.
Yeah.
I worked in Urban Outfitters at part-time.
Where did you go to university?
Southampton.
Southampton, nice.
Yeah. So it was
Good
nice.
town?
Do you know what? It was great as a student. I wouldn't want to go there now. But like there was Winchester School of Art, Solent and Uni of where I went, all in really close proximity. So as an 18-year-old, there was so many young people and they're all quite arty and cool, and it kind of really inspired me and made some of my best friends ever, still to this day. So I loved it there, but I wouldn't want to live there now. No shade.
Just to visit friends.
Some shade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so and you completed university, and then did the social media side of things, was that creeping into your life before you left university, or
during?
Was it transit during?
During, 100% during. Lots of blogs, lots of things like that, lots of sort of street style on campus vibes that I was kind of picking up on and reporting on. That's when I actually got Instagram for the first time. I think that will tell you a lot about my age as well.
I've heard somewhere you did reference Tumblr.
Yeah.
We had FD.
I love Tumblr.
We had
Yeah,
FD
me
here,
too.
and you know Reese is also a big fan of Tumblr. So
Yeah.
it's interesting that it's becoming a common theme that how influential Tumblr was.
Yeah, Tumblr was just where it was amazing. Obviously, at the time, we're so used to now having a barrage of inspiration and content and imagery, but at that time, that was the only place I ever saw like fashion and like makeup stuff, and I was just blown away by it. I didn't have like a following or anything, but I would post and I would like I can't remember what it's called now when you repost something on Tumblr.
Reblog, I think.
Reblog,
yeah. I think so.
But that's when I started actually like putting outfits together and just posting on Tumblr. Like I don't think it got any views or whatever, but I just really enjoyed the process of doing it.
Yeah.
And then when Instagram came around, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm just going to start posting my outfits on here. And back then I had no idea what an influencer was. Like I didn't really know that. And it was back when your news feed or whatever, there was no news feed. You just saw your friends doing stuff. So it was such a tiny little echo chamber. But I just started doing that. And then I think I remember the first reach out I got was from ASOS doing like Puma. Okay. They wanted just to send me some bits. And I was like, oh my gosh, people want to send me stuff. I couldn't believe it.
At this point, your grid just looks like it's just
daily, me having fun, taking outfit pictures, like not deeping it, sneaker pics.
Pretty much what it looks like today.
I think so. I think it's quite similar. Like I've archived everything, so every single post I've got is still to my accessibility. And yeah, it's always been quite similar. Lots of colour, lots of sneakers, lots of me just with my friends, things like that. And then it was when sort of they sent me those things and I did this whole shoot around it. I was like, okay, this is actually really fun. I didn't know you could I didn't get paid, but I didn't know you could get things for free, and I didn't know you could get paid. And it kind of inspired me to do more.
I feel like that's the...
Was that a real light bulb moment?
It really, it was like, wow.
There's something in this.
Yeah, really cool.
I definitely remember the first thing I was sent sent for free. I think it was a pair of like size Adidas young ones or something.
I remember those.
And I like the fluorescent. It's like fluorescent.
The
like,
orange. Yeah.
The
neon.
The neon.
I
neon
love
one.
those.
And like, being honest, like, would I get it now and post it? Like, maybe not.
Yeah.
But like when you like, there's almost like a naivety in the infancy of it, and it's like, you know what, this is cool.
Yeah.
Because I was doing this like completely for free, just like out of love of like being into something, and then when you're like almost appreciated by someone, like I'm not gonna lie, I still get gassed now when some people like will send us a message or email and be like, I'm like, fuck, I'm on your radar. Like it takes you back a little bit.
Definitely. Yeah. Get such a serotonin boost.
Yeah,
it
motivates
you, doesn't it? Yeah, definitely.
And where would your following count be at this moment in time?
45 or 46, maybe 46,000, maybe. Which I think is modest. You know, the circles that I hang out in and things, people that I know, you're doing like massive, huge numbers. But I think for me, I'm quite multifaceted in what I do. Sort of searching numbers was never really my goal, you know.
Yeah.
I like to think that most of the work I do is offline, and like online is just sort of I think I use social as it's meant to be, you know. It's an extension of myself rather than myself overall.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that is evident from your feed is that it's very genuine.
Yeah, well, thank you.
And it's very much you. I have a huge problem, especially people. I've been on this scene for a long time. We may have met before, but I've been around a long time, and you know, I've met many people in this scene, and I look at their feeds, and I know the human, and I know they're completely two different.
Yeah.
And I just cry out to see something real from these people on their social feeds. And I see the feed, and I'm like, that's just show me you.
Yeah.
Like, this is just over curated nonsense, pandering for the next freebie.
Yeah. And I think it's a lot of like repetition and copying as well. Yeah. And I just think the only thing in life that you have that is unique is yourself. That is the absolute only thing. It's just being you. So I think if it doesn't come from an authentic place, I think it is quite obvious. Yeah. So I've always just tried to be myself, whether that's received well or not.
I mean, you know, like I said, we've only just met, and just doing the research and going through your feed, I can tell that you know, the consistency and the authenticity.
Yeah.
You know, what I see on your social feed is what I see in front of me now.
There's like a level of integrity there, which
I
think.
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's important.
Yeah, I do too.
I'd much rather see that than.
Yeah.
You know, than people just chasing follow accounts.
Yeah.
And, you know, the next squeeze from a brand or whatever.
Exactly. That's always my advice to people. If you don't have the authentic like passion for it, then it's probably not for you, because it's hard to do anything, especially in the creative world. But if you don't have that underlying true love and desire to actually like just be involved and to learn and to be like involved in it, then it's going to run out.
Yeah, and I think long term you're going to pay a big price for that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, on a personal level.
Yeah.
I think eventually it'll all catch up to you.
100%.
You'll end up, you know, asking yourself, where am I? Who
Yeah.
am I?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's almost being more in love with the journey than the destination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And just think, would you still be doing these things if Instagram or TikTok wasn't a thing?
Yes.
Because, you know, sort of a lot of my friends who are really into this kind of world, they 100% would be. And they were doing it before, so they would be doing it after.
Absolutely.
You
so
know?
take away all your influence, your contacts, whatever. You'll still be posting daily feeds.
Yeah, I'll still be buying clothes and enjoying, like, experimenting and things like that. Yeah, which I think that is the key.
Yeah, it does shine through. It really does. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's very refreshing.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome. No, it's good to see. You know, we see so much, and you know, it definitely stands out. And I guess the work you do with brands and partners is testament to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah. Thank you.
No worries. Yeah. So we get into the social media management. You've worked for some pretty big outlets. How does that all come about? Where did it start? And you know, Condé Nast is a huge new organisation.
Massive.
Working for them must have been a trip.
It was definitely, there was a lot to learn. It's taught me so much, and I think kind of helped carve out my adult self, whether that's positive, neutral, or negative. But yeah, so when I left university, I got my first job was as a content editor, which it wasn't as fancy as that seems, at Expedia. And
That's a travel. Company, yeah.
So I was there for 2 years, and I soon realised that travel is not fun unless you're actually the one travelling.
Yeah.
Learned that very quickly.
Yeah.
But it was such a cool company to work for, and like I think I was fresh out of uni. It was a really young workforce. There was like free drinks all the time and free food, and it was amazing offices. So I stayed for 2 years. But at there is when I kind of thought I want to be doing something a bit more, and definitely more into fashion. But even there, going to work every day, I would have like different trainers on every day, and everyone was like, "Oh, you should really get into fashion more." So I was like, "Yeah, I really should," because that's where my like passion lies. And then after that, I don't know how I got the job. It was complete fluke because I had no experience in it, really, in a professional setting. But I got a very lucky to get a job at You Magazine, and it was as their social media manager.
Okay.
And I was very severely underqualified. And I remember saying to my dad, like, "Oh, I'm a bit nervous." And he was like, "Jessica," his American accent, he's like, "Nobody knows what the hell they're doing." And he was like, you just gotta do it. So I was watching YouTube videos, and I was like, actually, I could do this. It's quite simple. And back then,
you'd been doing it since you were
personally
back in university.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I've been running blogs and stuff. Yeah. So, and I think the skills were quite transferable. And back then there was no ads, there was no paid marketing. So it was more about storytelling, and it was very organic. So got the job, did that for a few years, loved it, learned so much. And then after that is when I got approached by Condé Nast to head up the socials for Vogue Business. And I did that for, I think, about 2.5 years. Yeah.
And what was that experience like working with such a huge publication like Vogue?
Do you know what? I think the best part was how much I learned, because there were so many involvements in like sustainability and tech and things like that. I learned so much about the industry in whole. Obviously, to be completely honest, it's probably one of the hardest workplaces in fashion that you could work for, just because it is very cutthroat. It is very demanding. I was working 7 days a week all the time, and that was just kind of like the standard practice.
Yeah.
I was the only person working on social media, but I think unfortunately is a bit of a rite of passage in these jobs. I'm not saying that's right, I'm just saying that's how it is. So I learned a lot, especially about what I won't tolerate in the future going forward as a person.
Yeah. A lot of self-development and just like understanding and learning of like the industry now.
Yeah. Definitely. So I think I've done my time.
But I feel like that's a given for almost like any social media. It's like like I worked at Dropdate for like 4.5 years, and we'd be at the pub after work, and I'd have my laptop out, like getting a post out. Like, if you're not hungry for it, it's not for you. Yeah. In my opinion, like you've got to be prepared to like kind of live it and breathe it to succeed in it.
Yeah, 100%.
It takes a lot of energy.
Yeah. It does. Yeah. Like even like running and managing your own social, like if you post once a day, it's like that level of consistency. Yeah.
That's something that I'm struggling with, because if I'm not in a good place or I'm not feeling great, I will just dissociate and isolate and like turn my phone off. Yeah. So I think the consistency part is what I struggle with right now quite a lot. But I'm just trying to be kind to myself and just realise. And there was one moment actually, I think it was like 2022, where I didn't post for ages, and I was really, really worried that sort of things would drop off and partnerships would drop off and people would forget who I am. And starting to post again after that, it was slow, and my engagement did struggle immensely, and I don't think it's ever recovered. But some of the best things in my life, career-wise, happened after that fact. So I'm always just such a believer, like, you got to put yourself first, and if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Like, you can always come back. There's peaks and troughs to these things, always.
I definitely feel I'm in the same boat, because I try and post at least once a day, and sometimes if there's no content, I'm looking for content. Yeah. I'm so hard on myself. Like I won't rest. Oh. And it's like, some days you just need to take a break. Yeah. And like the past couple of months, I've been like, you know what, if you want to take the weekend off, if you don't want to post on Saturday and Sunday, that's fine. Yeah. You can allow yourself that. The world's not going to like come to a halt if you do that. But sometimes when you're in it and you're just constantly thinking about it, it's hard to like give yourself that.
Definitely. Yeah. Especially if you're super hungry. I remember when I was younger and trying to grow more. Yeah. That's when I felt such pressure. Yes. I don't really have that anymore. I'm kind of just like, well, it is what it is. It is what, I feel sad. I'm not going to post. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that comes with maturity. Prioritizing your own well-being over, a social media post.
Yeah.
And that takes it takes a while to learn that.
Yeah.
That some
definitely.
things are more important.
And things like you say, things are always going to be there. Like the world is not going to stop, And you find as soon as you get back into it, you're like, oh, actually, this little break did nothing,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've all got to look after our mental health, and
definitely.
That's true.
There's enough things out there trying to knock at that. So
and just think as well, like for me, having worked a career job in social media and social media myself, sometimes I just don't want to always be exposed. Sometimes I don't want to be putting something out there all the time, but I think that's why, like I always kind of say, just find the kind of element that you don't mind being transparent about. And for me, that's why, like, I love the fact that it's fashion and sneakers. It's not necessarily like my opinions and me reacting to things that happen. It's just, my love of whether it's color coordination or whether it's the new sneaker that drops and I want to get it and I want to wear it, rather than, feeling like I'm not a news outlet. I'm a human being. So I think that's important to remember as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Learning to say no sometimes.
Yeah. Because if you don't learn to say no, your body and your mind will force you to say no eventually, I believe. So, setting some balance and some boundaries for yourself with everything, I think, is crucial. I still haven't worked out how to do it properly, but what I have got better as is being more gracious with myself, with just like, if I don't want to do it, I won't force myself. Yeah. Yeah.
And learning to be actually present in, personal surroundings, like not being buried in your phone the whole time, and giving yourself that break to put it down and just forget about it and
100%.
engage and connect with people and those around you. Yeah.
Because online and especially if you're just viewing one app, say whether that's Instagram, TikTok, whatever, you're still in an echo chamber. You're being fed information that is part of an algorithm. And I sometimes think when I'm out in the world, especially with style, you'll be on Instagram and you'll be seeing, oh, everyone is dressed like this, everyone is following these trends, and you go out into the world and it's like, oh, I haven't seen those trends once, So I think the best antidote to any kind of social media, I don't know what the word would be, like overconsumption or feeling like you're super in like in a echo chamber of the same stuff, is just to get out there and have a look.
Like leave your house, get some fresh air.
Have a look at real people, I feel like that is the most comforting thing for me, just looking at this people watching.
Away from work and away from the sneaker community, the fashion, what's your outlet? Where do you go to switch off? What are your other interests and passions away from what you choose to show us? What do you do? Where do you go to sort of massage the mind and reset? I'm a big book fan, so I love reading. I love information. I love the feeling of being inspired and learning new things. So whether it's sort of like non-fiction or fiction, I'm a big reader, always have been. I love nature. So just getting out there. And I'm just very fortunate to have a lot of different friend groups, and a lot of them aren't involved in this world at all. And sometimes might think things I mean, that helps massively. I mean, that couldn't be more the case for me. It really helps. It grounds you, and it reminds you that there's more going on in the world. So I love hanging out with people that aren't anything to do with it. And I feel like sometimes with this industry as well, there can be sort of an emphasis on ego. And I don't know about you, but my friends who are not in this world love to destroy my ego about it in the best way possible, Think it's a bit silly sometimes, but I think it's good because it makes you more humble and just sort of understanding it's just one thing. Also keeping hold of what's actually important. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I always think, what happens if the servers go down and all these internet apps are gone? And they can. And they probably will, tomorrow, let's be honest. Like, so you have to think like, okay, who are you without them? Yeah. That's important. Yeah. I love sports, so big sports fan in terms of playing, not necessarily watching unless I'm live there. I'd watch any sport live, but on the TV, not so much. So my history is I grew up playing basketball, a lot of basketball in school and outside of school, football in school, outside of school, netball, tennis, swimming. You can really tell the PE teacher and basketball father. You can see how... You did it all. Yeah. Running. Yeah, just being active. Love moving my body. Things like that, really. Vacations. Love travelling, seeing the world. Quite basic human things, really. Yeah, I see. Yeah. Do you still play a bit of sport? I gym a lot more now. Yeah. And I love to like shoot about with my friends, but to be completely honest, I don't really have the
time to commit to a regular sporting fixtures, and like that's what at university I found really difficult, was the keeping up with like the practices as well as my studies and the social aspect of my life, because I love to
multi-sport athlete, that would be tough. Like,
so I love just to do it just more of like a scrimmage kind of vibe, and hanging out with your friends, playing basketball, kicking a ball about, going for a run, things like that.
And if we touch on football for a minute, women's football's going through a huge boom. I'm enjoying it. I talk about it with guy friends all the time who sort of have a hard time watching it or taking to it, but I'm a big fan. I like that it's getting a bit more spotlight. And as a Manchester United fan, those girls are the only thing to be proud of as a Man United fan.
I saw that reaction.
I was going to hit him with a boo, but then I was like, not the women's football. Man United, not the women's football.
We turned you over. We turned you over last week.
You're getting turned over on Saturday. You're getting turned over.
Yeah, so as far as I'm concerned,
Man
United ladies are the only thing to be proud about. Supporting Man United.
That's a nice thing to say.
That's nice.
That's a nice thing to say.
And 5-6 years ago, did you ever think that would be the words that came out of our mouths? Like, I'm so impressed with how it's happened.
No.
Naively, or maybe.
But you can say, like, I can see those ladies on the pitch, and they epitomise everything it needs to be a Manchester United player.
Yeah.
And then you look at our men's team, and their attitudes are absolutely.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
And it's just it's refreshing, and at least we've got that.
Yeah. I always think when I'm thinking about sports and exposure and things like that, I just think actually there's a quite good antidote. So Grayson Perry, the artist, he said that culture takes 10 years to like take full effect. So I've always got that in the back of my mind when I think about things like sport, art, fashion, culture, and I think we're not actually even seeing the change yet. When we will see the changes in sort of 10 years time, when the young girls who now have the inspiration from these football players that we didn't have growing up will then be able to have the freedom a bit more just to, if I want to try football, I'll try it, it won't be as scary, as daunting. So I feel like the progress that we're seeing now is great, but I don't think it's even touched.
No, I think social media,
what's coming.
We can debate the pros and cons and good versus evil of social media all you want, but social media has been a fantastic tool for women's football to show the personalities, to pull some of these girls to the forefront and make them household names. It's been a good watch over the last few years, and I think what I try and when we get into this debate with other male friends is women's football is women's football. It is its own thing. Stop watching it expecting it to be men's football. They're completely different. Just enjoy it on its merits. And you'll start to see.
Because if you like football, surely you should like all the facets of football.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Stop holding it up to a standard that is not realistic.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
For sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think we all look out for the Lioness results as England fans these days, and we're certainly paying attention to a lot of the content that they're involved in, and and stuff we see.
The women's team at the Euros I definitely found it more exciting than the men's team.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a bit.
There's an authenticity about women's football that has long been lost in the men's game.
Yeah.
It's a lot more genuine.
Do you think that's because it comes with the nature of almost having to fight for your right to be there? You're going to be more hungry but I just want it to translate. There isn't so
much of the things that spoil men's football. That's present.
That's very true.
It's a dirty word, but the money being one, and the exposure being another.
But I do want the women to, earn what they deserve. Hopefully that's on the way.
If the viewership and the engagement comes up, it will all come.
But the viewership and the engagement is not going to happen without the funding, right? So we need to see it from the brands and the organisations to actually put the money into grassroots, put the money into everything women's football as a whole, so that the players from the top get paid what they're right and it trickles down. Yeah. I think it will happen though. I don't know if that's the optimist in me.
The day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit.
Lovely.
Oh. That's got to be a clip.
Yeah.
That was absolutely
on my vision board.
From wow.
Oh.
Amazing. Right, let's get on to fish. You briefly mentioned it.
Fish.
Fits.
Oh,
Fits.
I was like, this took a turn.
We can go fish if you want.
I'm a vegetarian, so
okay, wow.
Getting the fishing rod out now.
Yeah.
So the fits. Now, I look at your fits, and for me, I think they're colour driven. A lot of the time, there's a lot of colour, and there's no boundaries with your fits. How do you build a fit? Do you start with the sneakers and build it from there, or how does it work?
So yeah, I think if I've got a new item of clothing, it will usually start with I want to wear this.
Okay.
So it'll start with that. But right now, cost of living, I haven't really had that opportunity to have many new items of clothing. So I would
Ain't
say,
that the truth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to be honest.
That's real.
So it would tend to start with sneakers, and I've just built a sneaker wall in my living room.
Oh, we'll get onto that.
Living room.
Oh, it's in the living room.
Yeah, we'll get onto it. We'll get onto it. Everyone's like, what? But I'll explain why in a minute.
It's a big item here, so
yeah. I'll explain why in a bit. So yeah, it would start with the sneakers, and then it depends what I'm doing, you know, because I wouldn't wear. It depends on the materials of them, what I'm doing, what the weather's like. Especially in London, it's quite complicated to understand the weather.
Yeah.
But and then colour. Like I think my mum says, even as a child, I had such an eye for colour. Like she would pick out stuff for me when I was really young, and I'd be like, it doesn't match. It doesn't match. So I think.
Okay.
Intrinsically, I've just got a really good eye for colour palette, and I can, like, the tones and things that go well together really speak to me. So I think, and I can just look at something and be like, oh, the colours are wrong. So I think for me, it's, colour, tone, comfortability. I'd love to dress more, I don't know what the word is, but less baggy, I guess. I don't want to gender clothing, that's why I'm saying just baggy and things like that. But I just love to be comfortable. I love to be comfortable. I love to think I can run for the bus and it's going to be okay.
Massively underrated in these circles, yeah.
Especially in London, you've got to travel so far, and I'm always north, south, west, east, so it's like...
In the UK, if you're not prepared with layers, you're going to find out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the weather will take your outfit choice and make a mockery of you. So
I'll go colour of the sneakers and then build. And luckily I've got loads and loads of clothes, and a lot of clothes I've held on to for a long time. So it's quite a simple process for me, and I really enjoy it.
So, do you wake up fresh and then head to the stack and think, okay, I'm going to wear X today, and then build, or do you think about it the night before?
I'd love to say I think about it the night before, but I'm so last minute. It's very much on the cuff, throwing items around like But usually I just put something on and I go.
So I'll start with sneakers, and I'll try and go to sleep thinking about the sneakers that I want to wear. I'll go through my collection in my head.
Yeah.
And think, I'd like to wear that. So I'll try and go to sleep. If I know I'm going somewhere like my day in London, whatever. Yeah. I'll try and go to sleep the night before thinking about the shoe I want to wear.
Yeah. No, I don't do that. I quite enjoy the process being on the cuff. Yeah. You know.
I'm on the cuff as well.
Yeah.
I'm not giving myself any more. That's literally all it is.
I'm not tucking me sneakers in and making sure that they're having a good night.
That's like instead of counting sheep, I'm counting sneakers. I'm just like putting my head on the pillow, flicking the sneaker Rolodex and letting it play through my mind to send me to sleep. Yeah.
I suppose the question for me is, would you forego the fit for the shoe? Would you be happy to step out knowing the fit could be better? But you just want to wear those shoes. We have this conversation with FD and Will.
Yeah.
And for me, it's almost about the synergy of the outfit more so than the shoe.
Yeah.
I'm happy for the wider outfit to be stronger, and the shoes not to be as flashy, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think, well, humble brag. All my stuff's quite nice. Like, even like my basic items of clothing, I like it all. So even if it was just like a plain t-shirt, plain pair of trousers, plain pair of sneakers, that, you know, basic sneakers that you could just go and buy, for instance, like just say it was a pair of Chuck Taylor's Converse, I would still like that and feel like it was all in sync. Yeah, I don't feel like I need to flex always. Like
I rate that.
Yeah, I think I've got,
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's also freeing, you know.
A question Prozac put to me was, if the choice was, when it comes to footwear, snapping necks or something comfortable, what are you stepping out in?
Comfortable.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm snapping necks every time.
Really?
Really? Who's
okay.
like, you know what though, for me, it's such a conflicting thing, because I'm like, you know what though, I'm not bothered if I'm snapping your neck.
But I think even you can do that while being comfortable.
True.
No, obviously.
Because it depends what
that
you
can happen,
have. Yeah.
But sometimes there's that one shoe that, these don't feel great but every time I wear it, everybody makes a comment.
What's the example of a shoe
I don't
like
know,
that for
like
you?
just some mad heat. If like back in the day, I'd wear my kid robots or some some old Patter Amsterdams or whatever. Some heat, serious heat,
Maybe then I think
those two shoes I've just named are actually quite comfortable.
Yeah,
but there are others that aren't.
I think I don't buy shoes unless they're comfortable. I think all my sneakers are quite comfortable by nature.
Oh yeah, but you never buy them knowing they're uncomfortable. But
no, that's true.
Sometimes you get a model and you think,
no,
like an Air Trainer 3.
Yeah,
you won't know that's uncomfortable until you wear it for more than an hour, and your little toe starts to scream.
I just deal with it though. So I've actually bought some sneakers that are too small for me because I want them.
Oh, we've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Perfect example is I've got the Off-White.
All the
97.
numbers on the boxes do not match.
Yeah. I got a pair of the Off-White 97 Menta.
Yeah,
good shoe. Very good shoe.
I actually bought them off an ex-Nike employee, and she got the US to UK sizes wrong.
What's her name? She shouldn't be.
No, she's XXX.
Yeah, but
I'm not gonna drop it in here. This was time ago as well, and they're too small, and I was so gutted, but I'll still wear them.
Insole out though. Have you tried insole? Have you tried insole out?
Yeah, they're all out. Yeah,
all out.
Insoles
still
out. I wear
tight?
the thinnest socks. Yeah, it's like. So what would be like two sizes
the things
too small
we do
for women's size,
the things we sneakers do to make it fit.
I know.
Sometimes it's going to be insole out sockless. That's right, people, sockless.
Oh no!
Yeah, I'm not a sockless
I can't. I even wear socks if I'm wearing Crocs. Like I can't. My sweaty feet.
Socks and Crocs.
Yeah.
That's
because if you're wearing Crocs, you're not. No offense to Crocs, but you're not going for the style, are you? You're going for the comfort. That's like my running to the post office kind of fit.
I'm not with the Crocs.
I've got some in my bag actually because I'm going to the gym and I don't want to get athlete's foot at the sauna. So yeah,
that's a hot tip too.
Yeah. They're Black Panther Crocs though, so I think that's pretty cool.
Fair. What gibbets do they have?
What?
Gibbets.
Oh, I've actually lost them all.
Oh,
they had like some spikes, but I've lost them on my travels.
Fair.
Yeah.
I saw a gibbet.
Gibbet is such a funny word.
It is.
I love seeing it.
Yeah.
I saw one yesterday. It's like a customizable LED light bar that goes around the strap, and you can like program the message.
Oh my god, that's so
like
cool!
board,
I'll be like, stop looking at my feet. That's so cool.
Fair. All that picture is just Despicable Me gibbets.
Gibbet.
Yeah.
Just sounds like giblet.
It does sound like giblet. Yeah. And that is definitely not the case. Right. So we'll the sneaker wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've
got everybody's.
Let's talk
dream.
about that.
Yeah.
Dream home setup. And it's just been completed just recently.
Yeah.
And it took you a while to.
I'm just very disorganized.
Walk us through it.
Yeah.
From concept to engaging a tradesman or tradesperson to it being the finished article and you putting your shoes on the wall.
Yeah. So it's been in my mind since I think about 2020 that I wanted one.
Was the one that you'd seen? Was there someone you seen think, that's it?
Not really. I mean, there's the Insta sneaker girls, like some of my friends that I thought like it was really cool how they displayed their shoes. But I'd also been looking at on like Pinterest for years and years. I've been seeing sneaker displays, and I just didn't really mind how it looked like. I just wanted it to fit the aesthetic of my home. Mm-hmm. So until I purchased my flat, I didn't know what my aesthetic would be, and then I just thought it would be so nice to have a complete wall, like that I could just, have them all, like my current rotation, be able to look at them and decide what to wear. Because when they were all in boxes and in different rooms and all over the houses, I find it really difficult to think about what I had. And now that they're just there, it makes the like decision process of styling so much easier. And so I had the idea for ages. And then I was just asking around, but not really taking it very seriously. And then it was actually one of my best friend's cousin's boyfriend, who I think I did a little Insta post like, does anyone know who could like do a custom bookshelf for me? Because I thought custom bookshelf sounds a bit more accessible than custom sneaker shelf. And then he was like, yeah, I can do it. So then I just got him to do it, and it was great. It's turned out exactly how I wanted it to look. It fits the aesthetic of my house. The only thing is it's in the living room, which a lot of people have a real problem with, but I love it.
Feature, right?
Yeah. My mum actually, like, when we went to, I think it was SneakerCon, she said to me after, she was like, like, now the aesthetic of your living room makes so much more sense. Because, you know, like, most people's living rooms are, like, neutrals and minimalist, and mine is just, like, every single thing, every colour, all over the place. Like.
So how many can you get in that current setup?
Oh, he did tell me when I got it. I think it's about over 200.
Nice.
I've just got my favourite stuff. They're out there. Some that I really don't want to get sun damaged are in boxes still.
Okay.
But yeah.
How many pairs would you say you've got in total?
I mean, overall, I'd say probably about under 300.
Okay.
I don't like that's too many for me as well. I don't like to have so many, but it's just getting round to like finding new homes for them and
getting rid of them and stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Luckily, 2 of my best friends are the same size shoe as me, so they've done very well out of me over the years, I must say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very well.
How many pairs have you got?
Like 5 to 600.
I thought you were going to say 5 or 6. I was like, don't think that's right. Wow, I would love to see your collection. I think a sneaker wall for you is coming up.
I wish I had the space to do it.
Multi-floor sneaker wall.
My best friend's done it in his office, and it looks incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really gone to town on it, and yeah, I'm very envious,
Mm-hmm.
as I am envious of yours also. Yeah, it's definitely the way to do it.
I was super inspired by, you know, like everyone's Zoom backgrounds in the pandemic, you know, when everything was just on Zoom. And all the sneakerheads, and like when I was doing work with the Sneakers app and Nike, and they all had all their collection behind them, whether that was just boxes stacked up or whatever. And I think that's ingrained in me as well.
That's my Monday morning Zoom look, isn't it? Like where my office is, you know, wall-to-wall sneakers.
Yeah.
But like you say, having them open and seeing them, because one thing I did years ago was I'd got stickers made, and I put them on the outside of the box, and that changed everything.
Yeah.
It made life so much easier, because without stickers, reading colourways and models is just long, isn't it?
Yeah, and sometimes what we call them is not what they're called as well.
Yeah, so that was I mean, I haven't updated it for a while, but yeah, so certainly doing that was a big help. But yeah, that is definitely the go-to option, the way to have a wall.
When I
have them all out.
When I moved back home during the pandemic, because I was like, I'm not paying rent in London, to sit in like a box room. So I went home, and that's when I started like taking Polaroid pictures of the shoes and then putting them on the boxes. But soon disbanded that idea because it was very expensive. Yeah, I was like, this is not going to work out.
Yeah, I printed mine on address label stickers.
Okay, that's smart. Yeah,
just got a colour print. It was a very cost effective way, because I looked at doing the Polaroid method, and it was going to be costly.
Spenny, not worth it.
Yeah.
How many sneakers do you have?
How many do I have right now? 30.
30.
Like, I'm not.
That sounds such a nice
Do you like?
number to
You're
me.
good at sort of getting them in and out.
By getting them in and out, you mean like reselling them on? Yeah. He is fantastic at doing that.
No, I'm not.
He's one of the best.
Man's got to eat, okay? Man's got to eat.
Brands, they might get flipped after, but you're getting bloody good metrics before they're flipped.
Right.
That's what you're paying for. That's
and they're going to a new home.
Don't call him resell for nothing.
Hey.
For me, I think the most I've ever had is maybe touching 100.
Okay.
And that was too many.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know, because I've got a pair of 991 V2s on today, grey. Just because people want to know what shoes you got on. Well, tell people what shoes you're wearing.
Just some Jordan 4 Lightning.
I've got the Shox Sunrise, the Shox TL to Sunrise.
There you go, person on YouTube. That's what we've got on with feet. You've had to watch half the episode to find
bring
out.
Them up onto the table. Oh, beautiful.
I get cramp if I did that. So I'm not like that.
I'm just flexing my flexibility.
Yeah. So this morning I woke up. I hadn't really thought about it. I was just like, I'll wear this. I'll wear that. I'll throw these on. I was just looking at the shoes I've got. I'm like, I'm so uninspired with footwear.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go to S1.E5 after this and just see if there's anything on the shelf that I'd like wear. I'd want to wear for like a 2 to 3 week period every day.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at. If I don't want to wear a shoe for like a week to 3 weeks, right, like day to day, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Almost.
Everyone is so different, aren't they? With how they.
I'm at the point where I wish I was down to like 50.
Yeah.
50 pairs or so.
Okay. Do you realistically think you could do that? See, you're between 500 and 600. So you're
if someone came in and said, "I'm going to take this lot and I'm going to shrink it down," Yes. If I'm relying on myself to do it, it won't happen.
Because
I mean, I'll do it. That sounds like fun.
From
going through your archive.
No problem. Yeah, deal. I'll give you a nice percentage.
I'm so game. Let's do it.
There's probably a nice sum of money to be unlocked there if you did that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And at this stage in life, I probably really ought to do that. But I mean, the really, really lumpy bits have gone, and they went at a bad time looking at today's prices. But
things add up, though.
Yeah,
they do add up.
But the thing is, I've got some hype bits. Don't get me wrong, but I've always been. I love the stuff, the GR stuff.
Yeah.
I think finding diamonds in the rough is like that's what really.
Yeah.
Really gets me. I like trawling through the pages and finding that gem that no one's talking about.
Yeah.
It's just appeared on the roster.
Yeah.
And so a lot of my collection is stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I started collecting when I was old enough to have some disposable income. So at this point we're talking 20 plus, certainly 20 plus years of collecting. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I'd love to see what you have. I really would.
I mean,
have to make it happen.
So what your oldest sneaker would be?
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
That's a good question. No one's ever asked me that before. Probably one of the AJ3 black cements.
Yeah.
That I've got. And I got those.
Great shoe.
Yeah. I don't wear them because they're so battered, but I've just kept them for nostalgic purposes.
Yeah.
Probably those. But like I said, I'm just really regretful that I didn't keep hold of stuff, even just for my personal archive.
We're kids, we don't think like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I had some stuff because, when I was really getting into it, it was it was in the 90s. It was like the golden era for Air Max and all the rest, and all the rest of it, and Jordan Brand. And some of the things that have just as a kid have just been and gone is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the oldest shoe I own is an original pair of Hirachi lights.
Nice.
And they're from like 91.
Wow.
So super old.
Oh, was your baby?
Yeah.
Oh my God, no, I wasn't even born.
I don't think you were born. No,
what am I saying?
Yeah.
I'm aging myself prematurely.
I think I probably got sent that release 2 weeks ago, people.
Okay, so what was your most recent pickup? What was the newest?
Ooh. Purchased or gifted?
Ooh, both.
Yeah.
Both.
Purchased.
Purchased. Gosh, I don't even remember what they're called. They're the holographic Supreme. I can't remember what they're called.
The DM?
That's the thing about me. I'm really bad. I can be really bad with names.
You're the Supreme.
They're like holographic.
Oh yeah, the iridescents.
Yeah.
They're like gold.
Were they the last ones I got?
I'm waiting for the inline, the black inline pair of those.
Yeah.
Were
they the last one I got?
Bacons or the Court Posit Supremes?
Court Posit.
Get a picture up.
I've seen them on your feed.
On my feed?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I got a signal.
Is it this shit?
Is that the... Yeah, he's got it up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The
I love
Supreme
this.
Court Posits, yeah.
Yeah, really cool. What attracted me to them is just the iridescentness, the holographicness.
Yeah.
And I also have the Asics, the Novellis.
The Kiko ones.
Yeah, the Kiko ones. I've got them in the silver.
They're nice.
They're really nice too.
Good shoe.
In terms of... And then gifted, I think I've got a pair of... like the Puma... The Mellows? The red, chunky, that just come out. I think I'm waiting for a pair of those.
Yeah.
See, I'm really bad with names. Like, I really butcher names, but...
It's a funny name.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but I think I've got those at home. I think I'll deep it more when I got them at home. But I did also... I'm really into, like, now kind of going backwards a bit more.
I've seen that you... it says your clothing style is vintage sportswear, streetwear. I was interested to know if vintage applies to your sneaker buying as well, or not so much.
It does, more so these days. So I think the past year or so, I've always been into vintage clothing, but more recently now I'm actually like looking back with sneakers. And I think that could be because I'm a little bit, I think the sneaker market right now is so oversaturated that it's not really capturing my imagination like it did. Yeah. But what it is sort of previous models. And like, I think the beautiful thing about fashion and trends is a trend might exist. So, for example, right now in women's fashion, sort of very like ballerina core, like little bows and lace and all that's quite in. So I'm really rocking like some old Rifts right now, some Nike Rifts that I think...
I caught those on the
yeah, because they have that sort of... So that's my interpretation of that ballet core trend, you know? So things like that I'm looking back to getting.
And I think there's some riffs on the product line this year.
The black pair just dropped.
There is.
Yeah, if I was more money, I would have got them, but I think I need to be a bit careful with the pennies right now. Yeah. I think it was a lesson I learned a few years ago. It was like, you don't need everything you want.
You don't need it.
You don't need it. You don't need to stress about it.
It's a hard lesson to learn as a sneakerhead.
I used to be, for sure. I was thinking this in the shower the other day. I was like, you know what? I used to get so angry if I couldn't get like a shoe that was coming out. And now, you know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
Like Elsie brought up before that Future I Dunk, and I was like, you know what? I didn't even know they were coming out until I saw people with them in hand on Insta.
Yeah.
I'm completely removed from it. I'm so zen.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at like Hoka stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at like Nike releases. I'm looking at like things that I just
functional.
put on my feet and wear.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a grown up now.
Aw. Happens to the best of us.
I'm still messing with Nikes.
Yeah, me too. I got I think my most recent like sort of more lifestyle-y sneaker. I mean, with the De La Soul SBs.
Oh,
and
the lows.
The lows.
Yeah.
I've always wanted them. I think I got them at one of the sneaker festivals last summer. So this is that tells you how much I'm not really buying sneakers right now too much. But and I'm just obsessed with them. They're so beautiful.
What did they run you out of interest? 250, 300?
I think just over 200. I think.
Years ago I got like 30 or 40 pairs of those.
Oh my god, I hate
£12 a pair.
I hate you.
From the outlet.
I actually hate you.
I mean, I was only selling them for like 50 or 60, but if I had kept them, it would have been like nice little earner. It was a nice little earner.
Yeah. Wow.
I think the pair. I think I got the lows at home. I think I maybe worn them once. They were absolutely rock fresh. But I had the highs when they first dropped them, the high version.
Yeah.
I didn't hold on to them too long.
All that dunk stuff though, even the Stussy Cherry Dunk. Yeah. They were cheap. They were cheap as chips.
Yeah.
People were selling those for like 120, like 9 out of 10, and now
they're
like 1,300-1,400 quid.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nuts.
What did you guys think of the DN?
Oh, the DN. You know what? I loved that Supreme pair.
Mm-hmm.
I love the green. I love the green detailing on it.
Yeah.
For me, one of my biggest issues with like footwear brands is the cannibalization following I feel the incubation period of the initial hyped collab should be a lot longer.
Okay.
To allow people to enjoy it and for it to be bedded into the marketplace a bit more. I completely understand why Nike and like other brands do it, because building a new silhouette isn't cheap.
Yeah.
And if you haven't got a lot going on and you're suffering a bit, other brands, you need to like get stuff out in the marketplace. But I love that Supreme one. And then when I opened like Insta, went on drop date, so there was like 12 colorways coming like 2 weeks later. I was like, I don't want them no more.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
I understand
maybe that's like an ego thing and a me thing, like wanting to have like the hype version of it. But I was like, it's kind of, I don't mind the shoe. We've had them in hand, and I was like, it's cool. I like the references, the DNA of it.
Yeah.
But would I go out and buy a pair?
Yeah.
I wouldn't spend my own money on it.
Yeah, I felt the same. I felt the exact same. Like I did a collaboration around the white pair that I got.
Okay.
And I actually went to a research group before they dropped about them, and I really did not like them. They've grown on me so much, and I think that's the power of marketing and really made me feel like, okay, I am a consumer. Because when I started seeing people in them, I started seeing the advertising, all the cool editorials, it really did change my mind a bit. And I think that's important as well, just to be a bit open-minded. But when I saw them at the research event, I was like, to me, they felt like a dance shoe. Because I grew up like doing street dance as well, and they just really reminded me of like what a street dance instructor would wear, like back in the 90s.
Step 2 vibes.
Yeah. And then when they were marketed, I saw them mainly with like tracksuits, and I saw them on rappers and things like that, and it kind of gave me a different perspective of them. But would I buy them? Not necessarily, but I do appreciate the innovation that goes into Air Max, and I think how much money they put into it and like marketing, I think it has to be applauded in some way, I think, even if it's not for you.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
It's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Like the breaking out the it's not like they're repeating the same recipe.
No, they're trying.
Yeah, they are.
You have to applaud the trying.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously have a pinnacle Air Max every year.
Yeah.
And I think the DN is the best effort for a few years.
Yeah.
Probably since the 270 actually.
Yeah.
We quite like this. We quite like the DN, don't we?
Yeah.
I like, the upper reminds me of the deluxe, so
Yeah.
Instantly it's kind of like a hit for me.
Yeah.
They are super comfy.
They're really comfortable. Yeah.
And again, that whole unit, as more and more I see it, the more it grows on me.
Yeah. I don't think they needed so much branding on it though, especially like the air bubble. I think just one accent of branding would have been enough. It just seems like it's everywhere. Which I don't really like. But then I did like the Supreme with the Supreme all over though. I think that's quite hard. Yeah.
We keep speculating if there's going to be more collab work on that shoe.
I'm sure. Well, I don't know actually, but I think they would. If putting all that money into it.
Yeah, we spoke about before, like Maharishi, I think they do.
I mean, it's bound to hit the Buy You platform as well.
Mm-hmm. That'd be cool.
What's a retail? Are they 170 a pair retail?
155.
155. Okay.
Yeah.
You got change for a little small Nando's.
Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've mentioned cost of living at the moment. How do you feel about the price of things at the minute? I mean, an inline Jordan 1 high at the minute is it 180?
Yeah.
An inline Jordan 1 high at the moment? Is it 179.99?
Yeah, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got some fours pushing 205, things like that. It's
too much money.
It's too much money. I agree.
Yeah.
And I think it just sort of makes the industry enabled to be gatekept more. And I feel like with all these things, with street style, with fashion, with sneakers, you need to nurture the people up and coming, and that is kids. They're the people that you can capture their imagination, and then you get loyal fans for life. All of us have stories about getting into it when we were much younger rather than as an adult. But I think if the things that you love are completely inaccessible to you, you're not going to have the same loyalty. You're not going to buy into it as much. And then you're probably going to seek fakes. I used to do some few shifts in my friend's sneaker store recently, and some kids would come in and I would always chat to people, and the kids would actually not even mind that they were wearing fakes. They would tell everyone and they wouldn't mind because it was so unaffordable. Back in my day, if you wore fakes, that was an absolute no-go.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting that I had this conversation many times with people that they just didn't mind anymore.
Yeah, I've heard.
How does a 14-year-old get £200?
Yeah, no, 100. Well, if it's their parents.
Well, yeah.
I mean, how can their parents sustain that sort of thing?
Then it becomes a class issue again.
Like, it just encourages some seriously poor financial decisions.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's the constant conversation of Nike's like market share diminishing, whether it's in like the lifestyle market, the running market, or like other sporting markets, like Nike Golf, disbanding, getting rid of Tiger Woods, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I think part of the reason is people don't have the money anymore. Like if you look at Adidas and a lot of Adidas's flagship releases, like Adidas just done a 3 colorway collaboration with Sporting Rich on the Spezial silhouette. They're £100 a pair, and like £100 it's affordable for what it is. It's like a suede shoe. You can wear them. You'll see them on feet. Whereas 205, 210 for a Jordan 4, it's like it's considered like, am I going to pay my rent or buy those Jordans? But I can pay my rent. I can do my shop and maybe go for a drink, and have a pair of Spezials on my feet. For me, I'd never say I'm tight, but I'm definitely looking at things. I'm thinking, well, realistically, how much wear or what longevity has that got? Is that a shoe I want to wear for a year? Yeah. Is that a shoe that's, to me, it's got like a 3-month or a 6-week run where I just wear it for a bit and I'll be like, I'm a bit tired of it. Yeah. I've got some fits out of it. I don't want to wear it no more. Yeah. I feel like that's important. And even like outside of footwear, some brands are just kind of taxing for what you're getting. Whereas like the retails were accessible. Like I love Acne Studios, but like I don't want to spend $450 on a button down shirt. Yeah. Come on, that's like jacket money. Yeah. I don't know.
No, I agree.
For me, like the market's in a weird place, and obviously retailers are like cannibalizing one another. Goodhood put like a thing out, and I kind of thought Goodhood was gone when they put that thing on the Insta. I was like,
yeah, because the store closed down, did it not?
They're moving
to Hanbury, where the old Adidas store was, moving there.
Okay. Oh, that's good. I thought they were
Yeah,
down
yeah,
too.
but
Yeah.
like that was my immediate thought as well. I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit, like another retailer done.
Bites the dust.
Yeah, but I just think I get it. There's production costs. Everyone needs to like take a slice of the pie, make a profit. Otherwise, it's not viable. But shit's expensive.
Yeah. It's fashion, isn't it? So
it's a luxury.
It's a major capitalist concept, I guess, concept thing, and I think it can be quite discouraging. You know, when you have a true love of it and you feel left out of it because of finances.
Yeah.
But that's why I think, not with sneakers, but talking about fashion specifically, like resale has really helped with that. I think we're talking about fits here. Because like I can go on Depop. I don't care about buying a new Acne Studios.
Yeah, simple me. I'm happy to buy it used.
I'd happily, happily, £200 off.
Yeah.
Buy it on Depop. Love it even more.
Yeah, and I feel
but like those online, aftermarket resale sites like Depop, like Vinted, are the more they offer the best value because. You go down Brick Lane, you shop Vinted. You seen the prices lately?
So expensive.
Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah. So I've got these, like, I'm wearing, like, Realtree cargos.
Yeah.
So I think in Brick Lane, I saw they were, like, £50, £60.
I know.
For, like, £18.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
£50, £60?
Yeah.
Are they all right?
Yeah. No.
Mate, you go through that. You go through that vintage market in Truman Brewery. The prices are mental.
Yeah.
Extortionate. Yeah. And it's not even like designer stuff. It's not even like, sought out stuff. It's like mass items.
Like bulk, like kilo sale bulk buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
£60.
Yeah, so those sites definitely represent much better value.
And, and also, sometimes I'll open deep like Vinted. I think there's a lot of fake stuff on there.
There's so many fake stuff.
And
on Vinted.
the fake stuff on Vinted is starting to creep onto Depop. So I won't even look for like Stussy or Supreme like stuff I've missed because it's all fake.
I did see some notification though. I didn't really read it about them trying to do more authentication
they should.
on Vinted.
They should, but it's obviously difficult because sometimes I'm looking at something and they'll have a photo of the tag and I'm like, well, is that tag even legit?
Someone can replicate tag.
Yeah,
easy. Yeah.
And it's but
we've already touched on like fake sneakers, but even dupes now, like. That's a legitimate source for you can get a dupe that looks identical to the real thing at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah. And again, if you're 14,
and unless you've got them in hand, you can't tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also the hunt on there is almost like a bit nicer.
Yeah.
Because there'll be like suggested things. There'll be like an algorithm suggested things based on what you've searched previously. And sometimes I'll have a little scroll through that and I'm like, okay, that's nice. I would never have searched for that though.
Yeah.
It's a good price. I'll pick that up.
Yeah.
It's almost like the online TK Maxx.
Yeah.
Whereas like and there's a nice save and a lot of the stuff's like good condition because the trend cycle's that quick. So people wear stuff for like a month or two. They'll get rid and they're happy to take like a hit on whatever the retail was.
Yeah, because they want the money for the next
thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So if we ask what are your favourite brands? Obviously, this is going to be an obvious answer to us. But what are your go-to brands? Not just footwear, but in general.
Well, I'll start with footwear. So longevity-wise, my whole life, it's been Nike, Jordan, and then I suppose like I don't know. A Carhartt has always had a very big place in my heart. Like always loved Carhartt. Stussy, obviously. I think some of the more like long-standing streetwear brands, I feel very like loyal to. Not because I'm loyal to the brand, but I'm loyal to like the messaging, the journey, my journey with
the nostalgia almost of it. Yeah.
And I feel like I like the gender-neutral kind of aspect of it as well. And I just think if I bought like a Stussy tee, I'm going to probably keep it for 20 years of my life rather than, something from, I don't know, weekday that the trend leaves. And that's why I think the beautiful thing about like streetwear is I feel like it has a much higher shelf life than maybe other trends.
100%.
You can always I will always dress like this, even no matter what the trend cycle's saying.
And there will always be clothes like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might not be in like the mainstream now. I think 2020, always reference 2020, but there was such a pivotal moment in terms of sneakers and outfits and fashion. That was when sort of sneakers and streetwear really hit the mainstream, and it was all on the catwalks. It was what everyone was wearing, and I think it's kind of dropped off now. I'm just speaking from a women's perspective. It's gone a bit more girly, which is great. But I think, there's always space for streetwear in my life anyway. What other brands do I love? Do you know what? I'm actually I'm a little bit bored right now, to be honest. I'm a little bit bored. I'm wearing like my friend's brand, Lebram, which is like a West African brand. And then obviously I've got this bathing ape. I'm not like too keen on that, but what do I like? I bought this because of the colour.
And it just went with the shocks, right? Yeah.
I like the ape head embroidery.
Yeah.
That's the above.
Oh,
yeah, that's a nice touch.
Yeah.
It's well thought out.
It's good for me. Orange is my favourite colour, so
nice.
It's all good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like I'm a diehard fan, but I like it, and obviously I like the history of it. Yeah. You know, my heritage is African American, so anything with like African American roots, like, so like Pharrell, Nigo, all that, I kind of have another soft spot for. I'm trying to move more into sort of like more independent brands. You know, I think, that's kind of what I want to shift my focus onto in the next few years, just to kind of spotlight those brands and also have a bit more authenticity with it. You know, these brands don't need any help.
Yeah.
They don't need any more exposure or anything like that. And I think that's where the true like artistic flair comes from. These more independent brands.
Yeah.
They don't have the same sort of parameters. Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned Jordan Brand as a favourite, and then obviously a full circle moment for you was your work with Jordan Brand.
Yeah.
That must have been an experience.
I honestly could not believe it. Like I didn't think it was real. And it was such a, like most things in my career, I'm so grateful for, has been such an organic journey. So I was already doing stuff with Nike, Nike London and things like that, sort of odd bits of content, odd bits of consulting here and there. And then it was off the back of that the Jordan Global team reached out. And then I was the first woman or person, I'm going to say woman because I know that's definite, but I think it's person in Europe to have their own AJ11 campaign. And it was the Cool Greys and it was the Safari Pack as well, which was the women's release.
That's cool.
Really cool, and I was so blown away. And then off the back of that, then the EMEA team, so the European team, then reached out about they were doing like a women's collective. So these were like collective of women who would be, I was in the London one, obviously, there was Paris one, there was Tokyo one, one's in America. And the idea was that we would come together, celebrate, encourage and promote inclusivity within the sneaker industries through our own disciplines. Mm-hmm. So mine's mainly through education, because I lecture at Central St. Martin's, we can go into later, and things like that. And education's always been sort of a forefront of my mind, having loved it myself and also my parents being teachers, etc., etc. So within that collaboration, I did a lot of mentoring, panel talks, workshops, specifically right in the Black community, and lots of like photo shoots, content, things like that, and most amazingly trips to basketball tournaments in Paris, things like that, K54. So it really was a dream come true, and I did that for 2 years in separate contracts. And I just think that was one of the most amazing things I've done. I got to meet some like incredible women on that process, and I hope it helps, you know, for young girls to see us, people of colour, in that position, working with a brand such as Jordan, and just like living our passions really in real life. Yeah,
that must be an incredible moment.
Yeah, it was. Completely.
So your father's gone from playing, you told us a little humble brag that your father played 6 times against Jordan. Yeah.
And he said like he was the biggest trash talker ever. Like he'd be in your ear like demoralizing you, like you had nothing, boy, like things like that.
So full circle, unbeknownst to him, you know, Michael paid for that trash talk.
Right?
Yeah. And you did 2 years good work with the brand.
I've actually never even thought about that, but that's so true.
That's a clip.
Yeah.
That's paying it forward right there.
But just for me, like Michael Jordan was the only black athlete that I can remember outside of athletics and football growing up that I knew of. And obviously the African-American link. And I just thought he was amazing. I also, when I was younger, used to confuse him a lot with my own dad, like watching Space Jam, like, is that my dad? Like, to have that link, obviously, my dad played against Michael Jordan, and then to be working for the Jordan brand, or with the Jordan brand, I should say, is just amazing. And
then to get a campaign on the 11, the 11 in particular, which obviously you've mentioned previously today, that was one of your favourite silhouettes of all time, is big.
Yeah,
it's pretty big.
I don't think I really deep.
You know, you Space Jam
as it
reference
is.
again
Yeah.
is, you know, the 11's a big part of that film.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
yeah.
There's
I
almost
feel very lucky.
there's almost like a level of like imposter syndrome when you've almost done something like that. Whereas like if it was your friend or something, you'd be like, do you realise how like
Yeah.
sick this is, or like
Yeah.
how like accomplished you should feel?
Yeah.
But when it's you, you're almost like a bit like dazed by it.
Yeah, I'm a
You-
bit like,
you can't like fully take it in.
Yeah, 100%, and I feel that a lot. But do you know what? I'm really, even though it is bad to have imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
I do like it because I feel like I just know in my heart I'm never gonna be too prideful. I'm always gonna be humble because it comes naturally from a little bit of self-deprecation, you know.
Yeah.
A little bit of self-deprecation never hurt anyone, just a little bit. But yeah, I just think. I just never imagined that was even possible in that kind of collaboration with a brand. I've never done anything like that before, to have this 360 consulting mentorship with like young black women in London and be the talent and go on trips and actually like have your experience of the sneaker industry be heard.
Yes.
By
Did
a global
you get a
brand.
trip to Oregon, World Headquarters?
No, we didn't. We went to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
It's just outside Amsterdam, actually. I'm not sure the place. So we went to the Netherlands.
Hilversum.
Yeah. And that was super cool. I mean, like, that felt like enough. So imagine Oregon. I think I would just pass out, like, literally. One day, I hope, somehow.
Yeah, it's a similar
Have you
bucket
been?
list for me. No, I was fortunate enough to get to Hilversum. Again, cut a check from Nike. I did that one time, which was super satisfying for myself on a personal level. And then the last box was to get to WHQ in some capacity.
Yeah.
But
let's do it.
Still waiting. Yeah. let's do it.
Somehow.
Yeah.
I've been to neither Nike.
It doesn't seem like you want to.
Yeah, I've met some really incredible people from.
I like the
Nike.
swoosh. I like the swoosh.
Yeah.
Just hit us up.
Yeah.
You
I
got my
think
number?
you're more Boston bound for New Balance.
Yeah. But to be fair, New Balance shows more love.
Yeah.
As do I. So it's like it's kind of like
Go where the love is.
That's kind of what I grew up on. To be fair.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know.
And if you joined forces with Jordan again, what would that be? Is that something you'd like to do?
Yes, I definitely would. I think naturally I'd want there to be some sort of progression in terms of like the advocacy of women in the sneaker industry. So it would need to be some sort of real tangible ways that we can actually help on the ground, which I think not just unique to Jordan, but unique to anyone in the sneaker industry. It's quite hard to make real progress and to like make these waves of change. But I think, I'd be really down to do it. And like the projects that we did felt super impactful and
that's real influence.
Yeah.
Influencing a brand, making change at that level. That's real influence rather than.
I hope so. I just always think when I was younger, I never saw anyone like me in this position. So even at the very least, if one young girl of colour saw me up there, that's job done, right? That's enough to have that inspiration.
I mean, you might find this interesting, but before social media, we had forums, and Crooked Tongues was basically the epicenter of the UK sneaker culture in the early days, and one of the only, or certainly the strongest female voice on that forum back in those days, in the early days, was a black woman, Debbie. We used to call her the first lady of Crooked Tongues, and so even back then, there were influential figures there.
Yeah,
and it's certainly the first one I remember, being on the forums and chatting was D Bailey 72, I think the handle was.
I love that you remember that. So.
And she's a great lady. Yeah, she was a great woman. And she used to work at Offspring, so she would be in Carnaby Street. I think she moved to Camden. Yeah. But yeah, she was a big part of things.
Yeah. But that is like a story that just sort of rings so true, that black women have been at the pinnacle of a lot of these things, just not really given the same platform, and the light's not been shone on them at all. And I think that's the beautiful thing about sort of my generation is, from the work that the women before us have done, we've been able to really come in and be like, actually, that's not good enough, like, and advocate for ourselves. I think it's like the roots of change, first of all, it's being there and asserting your place, which the women before us had to do and fight for that right. And now that we're there too and can step into it a bit more easily, I wouldn't say it's easy as a woman in the game, but a bit more easily, they've given us the power to kind of really, really advocate for each other and ourselves. And I hope the next generation will be even better and even more, not have the same hurdles that we had, and definitely not the same hurdles as the women before us.
I think that for me, I think the biggest change in the culture was
Instagram.
No, was the I don't know what would you call it, the awakening of the female influence into sneakers.
Yeah.
Once they started hitting the catwalks.
Yeah.
And girls started paying more attention. I think that's the biggest change in the last, since I started collecting sneakers anyway. Because we'd go to brand events, we'd go, all these events, and there was maybe like a handful of girls, females, like, next to no, it's probably like 95% male dominated.
Yeah.
And then slowly but surely, and then especially there came like a defining, certainly time that all of a sudden there was a lot more females coming to events in the space, posting, engaging. And I think that is the biggest change. And I think it was at that point you think, oh, this is no longer a niche market. Yeah. This is mainstream. Like sneakers definitely went mainstream when females started to really get into it.
Well, I'll say that females, like, they've always been sneakerhead females, but I think in my experience anyway, the internet really helped. So the social media really helped in sort of inspire more people to get into it. And obviously there's safety in numbers. The more women are into it, the more noise we made, the more brands listened to us. And I think also sneakers was notoriously a boys' club until there was, enough of us shouting. And now it's actually become, in my experience and the networks that I'm in, it's become uncool to feel that, if someone is being sexist or not inclusive, then actually people of all genders are really fighting that battle. Whereas before it used to just be women like really fighting or feeling so silent that they maybe couldn't or didn't have access to these events, didn't have access to this information. So definitely in my short lifetime, not that short, I've really noticed the change already. So, but I think that there is a responsibility to brands to make the space safe for women, and for our male counterparts to actually advocate for us as well, and to call out any BS, whether that's online, in real life, open up spaces for female sneakerheads, open up spaces for people to get into sneakers as well. So that's no gatekeeping, just all of us sharing the passion. That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we all love sneakers. It's the same thing,
Yeah.
Okay, so a question we have to ask any sneakerhead is, I've got a feeling which brand we're going to go with, but a Jessie Law X brand collaboration shoe. Ooh. What would it look like? What would it be?
Ooh.
What would you like to put your...
It's probably a bit unfashionable in big 2024 to have an AJ1, but it would have to be an AJ1 for me because... And also, if I look at my favourite female...
Luke's heart's breaking over there.
Sorry, Luke. If I look at all my favourite female collaborations of recent times in Jordan Brand, so Laylee May, Melody Asani, Billie Eilish with the neon, they've been AJ1s, and I think that's the silhouette that I have the most memories of as a child. I really love the ambush up-tempo low, so I would like to do, and I think you can play around with the colours with an up-tempo really nicely because of like the embossed nature of it. Yeah. So I'd love that. And a 97, come on. And it would have to have some sort of silver jazziness. Would be amazing. To be honest. I think there's so many silhouettes I'd love to do. Unfashionably, I'm not the biggest Jordan 4 fan, and that is only because they don't suit the shape of my foot. I find them uncomfortable. And that's the only reason. I think they
until the SB, the Jordan 4 isn't the most comfortable. It never has been.
Even the SBs, I feel like I've got the pine green SBs. They still don't fit my foot right. Like I wear them for a day and I get foot ache, and I just think that's not what I want. No. I want my sneakers to be comfortable. That's why I'm wearing sneakers.
Yes, amen. Yeah, amen.
Yeah. What about you guys? What would be yours?
Oh.
Yeah, go for the...
Nah, you can't do...
Which hoke are you going for?
Martin's done it all, to be fair.
Martin, is it? Martin,
is it? Martin, is it? Trying to get that brand deal. Trying to get that high-end... Trying to get that high-end Parisian brand deal. You know what? Probably a New Balance.
Yeah.
Probably a V4.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't... If I ever got the chance to do a collab, I wouldn't want it to be something where I got tired of it.
Yeah.
So it would be relatively it wouldn't be like outlandish.
Yeah.
It would be pretty like simple and pretty toned down. But
yeah.
it would be something I'd be like, I wear that and I'll look forward to wearing that in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe like I'll like hit a green on it or something, but like ultimately quite wearable.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Smart.
Probably an Air Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A 1?
It'd be a 1 or maybe a deluxe. Like I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of that. Well, actually, I'd like to do something with the Tech Challenge 4. Agassi Tech Challenge 4. Yeah. And if it was a Jordan, Jordan 6 is my favourite.
Yeah.
I would.
Nice.
I'd do something there, but yeah, I would probably land on an Air Max.
Yeah.
Yeah, either an Air Max 1 or.
I think a 98 could be quite fun.
Yeah.
Because lots of different. Again, I'm just thinking of like a blue pair I had growing up.
The Gundam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could play a lot with the colour. And obviously, I love colour. I think that'd be quite cool.
Oh, your collab shoe would definitely.
Oh, it'd be like bright and
hit some
jazzy.
colours. Yeah.
Yeah. Manifest that.
We'll go for that. Something we ask every guest. We asked them what their Mount Rushmore of sneakers would be. I think we expand our Rushmore to 5.
Ooh.
So,
That's difficult.
Your Mount Rushmore of sneakers.
Is it really bait if I just say like a 85 Chicago?
Absolutely not.
84,
This is
85.
your Mount Rushmore.
Are you talking original 85 or the reissue? The reissue.
I'd say
85
original,
ones?
and it would sit in a case. You know,
Okay.
I think that's memorabilia vibes.
I hear you.
I just think that'd be super cool. Gosh, how wanky is it to say I've got quite a few of the ones that I love because they're usually around the female collaborations. They're not necessarily ones that like are really super hard to get. It's more about the storytelling behind them, right?
yeah,
So it's like nothing. I don't actually think a sneaker has got in my soul like because it's the only AJ1 mid that has got any weight. Actually, no, that's a lie. The one of 2. The Maison Château Rouge, the beautiful. Love Maison Château Rouge as well. Actually, my ring is from Maison Château Rouge.
Yeah.
And the guy who owns it, Yusuf, is such a babe. Such a nice and really cool guy. So I think them, and then the Melody Asani Fearless.
Okay.
I honestly think I stared at them in the box. They're not for everyone, I understand that. But when I got them and all the messaging around it, you know, if you knew what you had was rare, you'd never waste it. And fears, and like, was it like doubts, like fears are often an illusion. I just remember like at the time when they came out, was just blown away by it, and I just loved them so much. And I think how cool that it's a woman to put mids, well, the only mid, on the map like that, because notoriously we just really don't like mids. None of us do. But
yeah, I mean, mids is a controversial topic, that's for sure. Yeah, it does.
But then the Maison Château Rouge as well.
They went for a pretty penny there. Should have
Stunning. Mine are battered, but I think that's fine. What else would I love to have?
Slept on those.
I think as I'm like I'm obviously speaking about Jordan because that's where my like tunnel vision has been for the past few years. Some sort of like Virgil-esque.
What's your favourite out of the 3 Jordan ones he did? He always did the.
I think the UNC.
UNC. Okay.
Yeah, I've got those as well, so maybe that's one bit biased.
Fair.
I think
UNC would make sense.
Yeah.
You got a lot of ties there. This one.
Stunning. I think they're gorgeous.
Yeah.
You know what they remind me of? You know those reels where it's like, is it cake?
yeah, they're a good perfect cake one.
It's giving like, is it cake vibes?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, they do look quite appetizing. What else?
So is that 3 Jordan 1 mid? No, 3 Jordan 1s out of 5 so far. So Chicago. 11 make it in there?
I don't think so, just because I've acquired. I feel like I don't really buy 11s anymore because they really serve their purpose in that stage of my life. You know, playing basketball, and then obviously when I was doing the campaign with Jordan around the 11. So I don't think there's any on my list that I'd actually love to get right now. I've kind of they have a soft spot in my heart, but I'm not really into wearing them too much these days.
That's a really considered take. I've never heard anyone say that before. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Gold Bullet not make it.
I've got them. I just think
no, you can have them. These are just.
Oh, I'm thinking of like what would I like if you say you could have any sneaker.
Like
these are the ones that last you forever.
Yeah.
They're your Mount Rushmore.
If someone said, your all-time favourites.
Okay.
Whether you've got them, haven't got them.
Okay,
have a special place.
The question.
Whatever. Like these are like.
Okay, I got it then.
They're part of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this would really, we said earlier about my love of colour
Yeah.
and storytelling. This is where I think the Sean Wotherspoon 97/1.
Yeah.
Okay. A
I
good
just,
shoe.
again, and nothing has captured my colour vibe, imagination like they did. And I think it's just beautiful. So I think I love those so much. They're always the shoe that I kind of get out to show people that aren't into sneakers.
Yeah.
Because I think no matter if you're into sneakers or not, you can say they look beautiful, right?
It's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'd say, the Melody Asani mid Jordan 1 Fearless. Again, just from the storytelling around it, I'm such a big fan of hers. And then, it's all Jordan. Oh, no, not Jordan. They had the Sean Wotherspoons in there. And then I'd say probably, rest in peace, Virgil. So let's go with the UNCs that I've got. Yeah.
Nice.
It's a bit of a bait selection, but do you know what?
No,
that's me.
You like
It's what it is to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you like what
absolutely.
you like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd go with that, I think.
Nice.
It's pretty strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got them. How nice is that?
Yeah.
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 And maybe next time we have this conversation, you'll be able to put your own collab in that Mount Rushmore,
That'd be amazing.
right?
Come on, guys. Manifest that. Write loads of emails to Nike, please.
We briefly touched on things that we like to celebrate the uncelebrated in the GR product line offering.
Yeah.
And we've just got a few silhouettes that we've got around the office to talk about.
Just hanging around the office.
Just hanging around the
hanging
office.
about.
So, yeah, your thoughts.
Love. Big Shocks fan. I love the quality update of this. TL, I believe, right?
Yeah.
They came in the black and the white colorway. Beautiful. The Skepta, red and black.
Yes.
Got them too. Amazing. I think I've got such a narrow foot, so a Shocks is always great for me because they're super hugging of the foot. I just think they look a bit futuristic, even into this day and era. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I think
Very
the Shocks is a shoe that far more suits females than
So
males.
the narrowness, do you think?
I think so.
agree.
I think just when you get up in the sizes, they're just a lot of shoe.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, they're a lot of shoe,
Giving
and
Balenci.
It's giving
Yeah.
Balenci.
you know,
Yeah.
whenever I've seen, whenever I've seen on a female, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
they look really cool.
We can have
And
these,
then-
that's fine.
And then when I see them on fellas, I'm like, oh, dude, that's a lot of shoe, man.
I think they're beautiful and they're so
Yeah,
comfy.
design is good, and the tech,
Yeah.
obviously,
Who designed them? Do you know?
I don't. I'm not going to pretend I know.
Okay, fair. Well, I wasn't trying to catch you out. I just
No.
wondered. I genuinely wondered.
I do remember.
what it
I
is
do
in my
remember
brain?
when they
It is in
first
my
first
brain.
came out. What was is it the R4 was the original? Yeah, the R4 was the original Shocks, and I do remember. Them coming out. I don't know if it was late 90s.
That's some
late
of the vintage
90s.
pairs I'd love to get right
Yeah.
now. Some vintage Shocks would be really cool.
But I remember. Yeah. Oh, it was
Yeah.
Kilgore.
Oh,
So he invented
Gee.
the Air Force as well.
Air Force
Yeah.
One guy. Yeah. That's something you wouldn't put those
That's
two.
just a
No.
it looks like more like a Peter Fogg or a
Yeah.
Lozano than a
Yeah.
Kilgore.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think.
Knowledge. Me ad-libbing the entire plot.
Yeah.
I love it
Ki-
so much.
Yeah. I think Kilgore's got one or two silhouettes in his back catalogue that when you've seen their Kilgore design, you think, oh, because he's so synonymous with the Air Force One.
Yeah.
You kind of in your mind you have a preconception of what his shoes would look like. But yeah, he's got some real heavy hitters.
That's a
in
sign
his,
of a true
yeah, absolutely.
innovator, then, isn't it?
Amen.
Right?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm personally not a fan. I think they look quite cheap.
I like the Vomero.
What about the silhouette in general?
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm talking about the gold accents.
Yeah.
Do you know what? So my brother's really into them at the moment, and I didn't particularly like them until I've
Okay.
seen them recently.
Yeah.
It's not a silhouette for me.
Really?
No, I'm like,
Well, that's funny because everyone's saying that's the comfiest.
yeah.
That's the comfiest shoe.
I don't know. I feel like with a lot of Nike silhouettes, like this one, I love the fact that they reference sort of like more running and like athleticism. But for me, I'm more of the it's just not my go-to kind of shoe. I
Yeah.
don't really like white mesh like this.
Okay.
Is it a case of maybe you just haven't had the colorway, the right colorway hit you yet?
Sorry,
Perhaps. I don't
Shiny
know.
gold's always a tough one to wear.
Yeah, shiny gold I think
Yeah,
is throwing me
it's always
off. But I
tough.
don't know. In all my travels I've never wanted a pair.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that says a lot. Whereas a lot of not a lot, but some of these else on the table I really enjoy. I appreciate them. I like a shoe that can like tick off some of the lifestyle and athleticism boxes.
Yes.
I think that's like perfect, but I don't know. Maybe I should get a pair and see. You know, if it's a GR, I can just have a little play.
Yeah.
Maybe they can grow.
There's plenty. There's plenty on offer.
Yeah.
And there is some really strong colorways around.
This colorway's not it.
Yeah, that's not the place to start. No.
Anthracite grey, the one that came out after they called Walls a few years
The Dusty
ago.
Cactus, that was a nice colorway.
Yeah.
That restocked this week.
There was a Dornbecker one, wasn't there?
Oh, the Dawn. Oh, that is the one you start
Which
with.
one?
The Dornbecker
Can you show
Vomero.
me?
Yes.
Dornbecker.
That is the one you start with, Jess.
They're all over. All the NBA players are wearing them now as well. I've noticed. I say all. I've probably seen like
so
4,
comfy.
but still, I've noticed. No, the Vomero.
Vomero.
Yeah. Yeah. So lightweight. Wow.
They hug your feet as well.
Which is normally like my whole bag, so I don't know why I'm not into them.
Boom.
Oh.
They are a bit of you there.
Oh my god. I've never seen these in my life.
They have accessories too.
I want them.
They're going for
Okay, I love a Vomero now.
They're going for money.
Vomero.
Yeah.
They are.
No, I'm joking. Can you imagine that
So
today?
You're obviously you're familiar with the Dornbecker series, right?
I don't think so.
So it's a famous children's hospital in America.
Oh.
So it's like our Great Ormond Street.
Okay.
And each year they take a group of patients at the hospital and they design a shoe with them.
Is it 12?
Oh,
And
no,
there's
I didn't know. How did
and
I
there's
not know
literally no limits to what the kids
so
can put on a shoe. And that was last
that?
year's.
Oh no, so the kids did this.
So the kids design it and then Nike bring it to life. And then
Nice.
then there's always a story with each shoe about the patient that it was designed by.
Like they put the Superman logo on the Jordan 4.
Yeah, there was a famous Jordan 4
Yeah.
with a super. Yeah, that was
Yes.
a Dornbecker shoe.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And that was basically
Dornbecker.
you know, we said there's no limits to these
Yeah, there's
designs,
not.
and this is and getting a Superman logo on a Jordan 4
Did
can't have been easy.
That's
Did a
adorable.
Captain America themed Air Max 95.
Yeah.
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 they've done
So I
some
think
good-
I've seen some of these, but not realised
done some
the
cool
story
stuff.
behind it. Wow.
So
I want
these have a pack of extra swooshes that come with it, so you can interchange
cool.
the swooshes that are like cartoonized.
Is it like Velcro?
Yeah.
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 I have some Converse
it's,
with that.
It's cool when they do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I love anything with like a really good story behind it.
Yeah, it's a really good series. Yeah.
Bless.
Yeah.
Very sweet.
We'll stay in the lane of comfy runners. The
Yeah.
P6000.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, do you have any P6000s?
Yes, I do. I have a few. Mainly bought for not fashion purposes.
Gym
for
shoe?
No, I don't think I ever went for the gym. It would be more for like, I think when I was working in magazines and having to travel really far, it was like my perfect shoe.
Oh, commuter shoe, like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see a lot of commuters in the P6000. Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm really bad with like names. I go by like the colours, but there's
Yeah.
like a neon and blue pair
Yeah.
that I've got. The silver pair that came out relatively recently with like the swoosh has got blue over it as well. I thought they were quite beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know the names of them. I can't remember.
When they reissued, like 3-4 years ago? Is the reissue firstly? Or is the,
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
it's a vintage silhouette.
But it came back because it was women's first, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was one of the ones that
Yeah, I do
came
think
back
that
as
is.
women's. All the guys were like, "Oh, why can't we?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you've had everything. Let us have something.
Exactly.
The OG colour with
Jesus.
the orangey red swoosh. I like that pair, but I could never get them. So
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
if I can't get them, I don't want them anymore.
Are you a lilac?
These are beautiful.
Yeah.
I wear these, definitely. I love that they're a bit girlier. Yeah, again, it kind of has like, in terms of a sport perspective, I feel like these could tick off so many different sports, like dance,
Yeah. So
running.
these are these are
Lifestyle.
definitely shoes when they were first around were obviously pinnacle frontline performance
Yeah.
products.
Yeah.
And the fact that they brought back all these years later as fashion
Yeah.
sneakers rather than for sport
Yeah.
tells us everything about where we are currently.
True.
What else we got? Oh, we've got this is a big story this year, Cortez.
Mm-hmm. Long-term fan,
Yeah.
obviously. Yeah. Yeah. Long fan.
Any
I think-
colorways that stand out?
At home,
I think
I've
this is
got-
the way they're best. The original with the nylon
yeah.
and the suede.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
One of my ex-boyfriends, he used to love them, so that was like a really easy Christmas and birthday present.
Yeah.
We should just get him loads. Yeah, loads. And I have tend to got most of my Cortez on Depop, actually, on eBay. Just like a bit secondhand. They're so super comfortable. I'm not really in a phase of wearing them right now.
Yeah.
But it's been a shoe that's
They've just
been with
launched
me
a
for
big
long
campaign
time.
for Cortez this
I
month.
don't like them.
I think it looks like Snoopy in shoe form.
Even the all different colorways.
Yeah, I'm
I
just.
think I've got like an olive green,
And also I'm
black
not-
and white, white and black,
I'm not West Coast.
white, blue.
The black and white
The
is the
classic white, blue and red.
The Forest Gumps.
No, I haven't got those.
Okay.
I like those though.
Yeah.
And what was that campaign? Was it in like years ago with the woman on the skateboard as well?
Oh.
What was it called? I don't know.
Throwing the 6 up.
Yeah.
Toronto in the house.
Another techie, like a modern take on a tech sort of technical runner. That's the V2K run, or Run Tech as it's also known as.
I think the
That's giving me dance shoe vibes
yeah,
also.
and I think it just kind of was a bit late when they dropped these in terms of the fashion, in terms of the chunkiness and stuff. I've got a pair. I haven't worn them. I think that tells you everything.
Get them on Depop.
But I've seen them. I've seen them styled by loads of girlies like beautifully. I think there's
Yeah.
even though it doesn't necessarily give off necessarily.
We've seen
feel
them
feminine,
styled by El Millie
It's got a feminine
on a-
touch.
on a nice shoot. Smashed that shoot, didn't you? Yeah.
Not.
Happy client,
Yeah.
happy life.
Right. No, I think yeah. Not necessarily for me, but I see the appeal.
If you are going out buying sneakers, what are your resources? How do you go? What do you feel about raffles, or have you got enough contacts that you can bypass those?
This is the amazing thing. People just assume that so connected.
Yes.
I feel like I'm hustling. If I want a sneaker, I'm hustling so much. And by hustling, I don't even mean like contacting people, because I think there's so many people that want these connections, and like in the circles I'm in, loads of people are trying for the same shoe, right? So this idea that people are getting backdoored, I'm sure they are, but I'm not one of them, you know? So I'm entering raffles and things like that. And I will, if there's something I really want and I missed out on, I will trade a pair or sell a few pairs to then afford to buy them resale.
Yeah.
If I want the shoe, I will find a way to get it normally. Or just count my losses and get over it.
Or log into the Dropdate app and get all the info on what.
Well, there we go.
There you go. Plug for the app. No, that's great. I'm good to wrap up there.
Yeah, I'm good. As well.
That was a enjoyable conversation.
Yeah,
It was
really
a
fun.
pleasure
Thanks,
getting to
guys.
know you and having that conversation. Yeah, I
It's
really
nice to
enjoyed
meet you
it.
guys.
So thanks for blessing us at the
Yeah,
Drop
thanks so
Date.
much for having me.
Thanks again, TT Liquor, for the surroundings.
Shout out Steve.
Yeah, TT London.
Lovely coffee shop upstairs. Lovely coffee shop upstairs now. The coffee is still under £4 for every coffee. There was a Guardian article talking about the rise of the £5 coffee. It's not here yet, people. TT Liquor still delivering the under £4 coffee. Get a TT Liquor for your coffee needs.
And it's the most beautiful building ever. It looks like a Parisian boutique.
I need to leave this
Yeah.
room. I'm going a bit nuts.
Yeah.
I think he wants a job here, actually. I think he's gone in for a job.
Well, that's enough from Reese. That's
Peace
enough
out,
from
everyone.
me, Elsie,
Have a good one.
and
Thank
Jessie
you for
Law.
having
Thanks
me.
very much.
Where can we find you on the socials?
Oh, of course, plug
Jess-
the socials. Yes.
Jessie Law, just on Instagram and TikTok. I think I'm like _ Jessie Law on TikTok. I've just started TikTok recently.
So far for 30,
Yeah.
for 30 followers.
Yeah, we'll do it together.
TikTok gang.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm a lurker still. No content,
TikTok.
purely views.
Yeah.
So find her on social media, and again, find us on social media, Reese, as well.
At Kate Not Crumbs.
We've been the Drop Date.
At the
We
Drop
out.
Date.